But two G5 teams matching up. Gus Malzahn's team ends up picking up the win. Still really, really a cool and unique matchup last night. As always, the phone lines are open for you at 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That is the number to dial if you'd like to join us here on the rundown. We have several picks that we're going to get out to you today. Really, really, really looking forward to that. Oh, man. Also, we'll give you some not necessarily, do we call them leans? I don't know what I'm going to call it. But with that, we'll give you an idea of which way I think things are going to go. So we'll get into that here in just a little bit. Maybe a little something that you'll learn about each game. I don't know. Also, we'll go in depth on the Clemson Tigers and their matchup with Georgia. And the line on this game has dropped down to 3 points. Someone said you could get it at 2.5 in some spots. That's kind of interesting. We'll see how that works out. Got two programs here who do a lot of winning. That's just the way that it is. They do a lot of winning. Georgia, though, has to get over that hump, and they know that. It is kind of funny, though, because both fan bases are in the camp of, hey, we're the better football program, which is interesting in its own right. But we'll find out on Saturday night who the better football program is, at least for right now. Now, we can also start with the excuses. If Clemson loses, it'll be, well, Tyler Davis didn't play, or, X thing happened here or there. If Georgia loses, it'll be, you have to win, 26 more games in a row to even the series. Yeah, all of that. You'll have all of that coming down the pipe. Be interesting to see how that matchup goes, because it is the jewel matchup of the early part of the season here. So we'll give you some final thoughts on that game, but I got to start with I'm thinking East Carolina. I'm thinking Tennessee. Last night, I've been told, oh, man, this young man Milton is going to be the answer at quarterback. Now, Tennessee was favored in their game by 35. They end up winning by, 32? But Joe Milton didn't really do what everybody thought he was going to do. Rushed for 2 scores, 44 yards, finished with 140 yards through the air. Now, with that, you step out of the box for a minute and you look at that and you say, you know what? Tennessee has all these options at quarterback. Why not run some of those guys out there? Some of the tweets from Tennessee fans are interesting, to say the least. You really mean to tell me Harrison Bailey didn't beat this guy out? Not buying it. People are not happy on that front. Really, really true there, how that's looking. Also, a couple of other tweets here. Where is Harrison Bailey and how did he lose the quarterback competition? I know that what Harrison Bailey can do for Tennessee. I learned what Joe Milton can't do for the Vols. Bring back Harry, #Vol Twitter. As Brandon Online is saying right now, Tennessee was only up 14-6 at the half, and Bowling Green is a team that is not very good. I mean, they really aren't. They're considered to be one of the worst teams in the country. But apparently, it's at a point now where they are they still looking at Tennessee? And Tennessee fans are just hoping people looked at that scoreboard and said, you know what? They won by 4 touchdowns. That should be good. Yeah, not so much. Not so much. All right, if you want to respond to that game or the Central Florida matchup last night, which was delayed by weather, and then Central Florida goes out and they're down 21-0 to Boise State, and they come back and win. Gus Malzahn getting the job done. I wonder if he's going to wear the sweater vest, even though it's hot as hell down there. I wonder if that's going to happen. We'll see. But yeah, that was a very interesting game. Two G5 teams there. I don't think that neither team is going to really set the world on fire, but still a very fun matchup last night. You also had Ohio State. You know, you look at that game, and in the first half, it looked like Minnesota kind of came out and hit them in the face a little bit. Ohio State gets they were 14-point favorites. They win by 14. I thought the play towards the end of the game where the young man was targeted, but Ohio State ends up with the football. That's just, I know that sounds like I'm being like the conspiracy theorist here, but it seems like there's always a play like that. Not necessarily with Ohio State, but around the country. You end up seeing something like that. Even Ohio State fans that I follow on Twitter and stuff like that, they're like, wow, that should have been targeting. That really should. But then they come back with, well, that's a get back for the play against Clemson that didn't happen. So either way. Anyway, we'll take your calls at 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832. That is the number to call if you'd like to join us here on the rundown this afternoon. We're going to start picking some games here in a moment. Huffer Billy Paul says, y'all know OSU gets bailed out by the refs. He might be right. He might be right. All right, I'll tell you what. We'll break down the Clemson game first with Georgia, and then we will do some picks here in just a little bit. So as I look at this game, you know, there's all this stuff that's on top. You know what I mean? It's like the top of the cake here. It's Dabo Swinney versus Kirby Smart. It's the ACC versus the SEC. It's, you know, two powerhouse programs that are matching up early in the season. One thing I don't like is that it's at a neutral site. Why not have this game in Death Valley or in Athens? Why do we have to deal with a corporate stadium up in Charlotte? That makes no sense to me. But at least we're having the game. It is a top 5 matchup, and there are some cool things that we'll get to have here that may take a little bit of the bite out of it not being a matchup that's at either Clemson or in Athens. Of course, you got the matchup with DJ Uiagalelei and JT Daniels. Here's the crazy part about that. These guys are like right in the mix of the Heisman hype. If you go and look on any site, just Google Heisman Trophy candidates, you're going to find these two in the top 10. But they've started a combined 6 games. So that tells you a little bit about, people are just writing for mouse clicks there. But I'm not saying that neither one of them will have the opportunity. I'm just saying there's a lot of a perspective of we think they're going to be good. They don't have the track record of actually being good. Clemson, by the way, I've said this to one of my friends the other night. Did you realize how spoiled Clemson fans are? And he's like, what do you mean? I said, well, Clemson has had a series of quarterbacks from Taj Boyd, who is the ACC's all-time passing leader. Then they had, of course, Deshaun Watson, who was exactly, as my phone is going, my Apple Watch is going off here. But Taj Boyd, of course, the all-time leader. And then they go to Deshaun Watson, an absolute Clemson great. Kelly Bryant wasn't a bad quarterback, got him to the college football playoff. And then Trevor Lawrence, who ends up being the number 1 pick in the draft. And then who's next? DJ Uiagalelei, who is a young man that they think is going to be outstanding for them. Outstanding for them. Now, can you imagine if Georgia had those quarterbacks back to back to back to back? You know, we goof about Georgia in the 1980s stuff. They'd have a national championship with one of those if they had that string of quarterbacks. They really, really would. Begging Megan normally says a lot of dumb things, but this is absolutely true on his part. Georgia is just as spoiled at the running back spot. Man, Georgia's had some great running backs. I mean, they really have. We can talk about Herschel Walker, but Todd Gurley was, in my opinion, one of the best college running backs I ever got to see live. He was just outstanding. And the young men they've got now are really, 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 really good. But speaking of the Clemson running game, Georgia had one of the top rush defenses in the country. But did you know that last season, even with Travis Etienne, Clemson was 7th in the ACC in yards per rush and 11th in the ACC in rushing yards per game? That's with Travis Etienne. Think about that. They do have 4 starters back on the offensive line, but that offensive line didn't really put them in a position where they can run the ball. So I know that Clemson fans are going to tell me, but Rob, you got to see this kid, Will Shipley. No one's seen Will Shipley. The only thing that we've got is high school tape. Coaches talk him up. You don't know exactly how good he is. Okay? So the idea that Clemson's going to go into this matchup tomorrow night and run on the Georgia Bulldogs, I think is a little bit far-fetched. In fact, I think that the coaches are thinking to themselves, look, we need to do enough running the ball to keep them honest, but the idea that we're just going to go out and run the football is a little bit kind of a reach, in my opinion. It really, really is. So with that, you look at the Clemson defense. How good are they? Now, the 2018 defense, the defense that smoked Alabama, had Tua Tagovailoa and all those guys acting like, what the hell just happened to us? Had Nick Saban looking around like, maybe I should just retire. Go watch the halftime interview of Nick Saban of that national championship game where Trevor Lawrence, as a freshman, lit his defense up like a Christmas tree, but it wasn't even Lawrence. Yes, Lawrence had a great game, but it was that defense. Tagovailoa out there getting knocked around, getting picked off. That Clemson defense was the defense that have come after that couldn't hold a candle to it. And why were they so great? Well, Dexter Lawrence, Cleveland Farrell, and Christian Wilkins, all guys drafted in the NFL, all are playing on Sundays now. And they had that, they could get to the quarterback, but they didn't have to rush the quarterback. Meaning there weren't a lot of blitzing. There just wasn't. There's potential, and I'm saying potential, but they've already kind of proven it on the field with Brian Brzee, Tyler Davis, who may be out due to COVID, and Miles Murphy. These are guys that have shown out when they've been on the field, and they have the capability of controlling the line of scrimmage. They really do. In addition, you've got Xavier Thomas, who was on a milk carton last year, had issues with COVID and strep throat and everything else, and has been in Dabo Swinney's doghouse. But if his head is screwed on right, he has the potential to be absolutely outstanding. But the big thing with Clemson is that they have the capability to rotate great defensive linemen in and out of the game. How will that affect Georgia going into the fourth quarter? I'm more confident that Georgia has the capability, just from what we've seen, to actually rush the ball a little bit better than Clemson. But I still think yards on the ground tomorrow night are going to be tough to come by. They really, really are. I think there's a section of folks that think that they're looking at that Clemson defense and thinking that's an ACC defense. The young men that are out there are outstanding on that defensive line. And if the Georgia folks and the Georgia team doesn't take them seriously, they could be in for some hurting there. But Brzee and Davis and Murphy and Xavier Thomas, those are guys that are going to be playing in the NFL. They're really great. Okay. A couple other things on this game. With the Georgia Bulldogs, how are they going to be? We've heard so much about, hey, this guy's injured, that guy's injured, but who is JT Daniels going to have to throw the ball to? There's that too. It looks like Jermaine Burton and Kearis Jackson will be ready to go, even though they had to deal with some lower body injury type things. Yeah, that's out there too. Obviously, we'll take your calls at 803-978-1832. Let's get out to the phones. Mm-hmm. Welcome into the rundown. Good afternoon.
What's up, man? This is Clemson Tiger fan.
What's going on, buddy?
So I just called in, excited for the game tomorrow, and I was just gonna say, a lot of people keep talking about the defensive lines and stuff like that, and I know you just kind of got done talking about it, and they're both like super elite. They're both probably top 3 defensive lines, defensive fronts in the country. Let's be honest.
But hold on a second. Hold on a second. There are dum-dums in the chat that say the Georgia running backs will be running for days. These are people that play with Legos and eat paste. Okay?
Yeah,
it's not going to happen on that front. It is just a level of stupidity when people say that. We're going to highlight the dum-dum that said that so everybody in the chat can laugh at them for days. The Georgia running backs, they're great running backs, but the idea that they're going to run up and down the field is silly. If you're going to beat the Clemson defense, you're going to beat the Clemson defense over the top with post routes, not on the ground. If you knew anything about the game of hut, that's what you would be saying. But the reality is that you have guys out there that think, well, we can run against Mizzou and we can run against Vanderbilt, so we'll just run over Clemson because Clemson plays in the ACC, and that's what my grandfather told me, and I have to go with what my grandfather said. That is so ignorant. I mean, it's just
it is what it is.
Silly. But I let them play with their Legos and let them eat their paste and let their mom make them Hot Pockets tomorrow night. They won't be calling back on the show on Monday when Clemson keeps the Georgia running game in check. They'll be calling back to tell me, hey, if Georgia does win, it'll be because JT Daniels has a great game. But it won't be because of your running backs. That's not how Georgia's going to win the game. Anyway, go ahead.
If Georgia, I think if we can hold Georgia to around 100-ish yards, 125 yards, I think we win the game. If there was a team that is going to run,
that's not what the vibe that people have. They're the Georgia running backs will run all day. Really? We'd love to see that.
Well, I mean, to give them credit, if there was a team that's going to run and run all over either one, it'll be Georgia. But the thing is, the defensive lines, they're both very good, but they're also like extremely different. Like the Georgia's defensive line are like houses on the defensive line. They're all like 350 freaking pounds or whatever. They're humongous. And they're more of a run-stopping defense. I mean, they've had the number 1 rush defense in like the last 2 years. Clemson's more of a balance. They got 2 really good defensive tackles that can stop the run, and their edge players can also do it. But they also have maybe favor a little bit more towards the pass rush as well. So, but they're a little more balanced as well.
Give me a prediction on the game because I've got to go to a break. Well, who do you have winning the game tomorrow?
I got Clemson winning. I think it'll be like 38-35.
That's a lot more points than what they're saying in Las Vegas. The over and under, I think, is at 50. So we'll see how that works out. Hey, man, I appreciate it. I hope you call back on Monday. Regardless of whether your team loses or not, we will be on the air for Labor Day. Some folks will take the day off, but not here. So, but hey, man, thanks for calling the show. We appreciate it.
Yep, have a good one, man.
All right, there you go. Quick break. We come back. We'll have more for you here on the rundown. Final couple of notes there on the Clemson-Georgia matchup. We'll talk to you in just a moment right here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. I'm not worried about Caden and SEC Dog. They won't be here. They'll be over there blowing Uncle Lou come Sunday night. They won't show back up. They just won't. You don't have Todd Gurley in your backfield. Yeah, you don't have him. So good luck with that. Good luck with being that stupid. I mean, seriously. Mm-hmm. No, it's not big mad. It's just silly. It's just silly. I can show you my download report, man, and I've got my own radio show there, SEC Dog. We can't even get you to call the program. I'm surprised you can type. I really am. It's really sad. It's really sad. I have people that literally message me on Twitter and they're like, they watch some of the comments you Georgia fans make and they laugh. They laugh. And it's not even the Will Muschamp thing. We goof about that. Will Muschamp's got a great defensive mind. We do. I mean, we can, get into that. He's a sorry coach, but his defensive mind is great. But you Georgia fans, just keep running your mouth, man. Keep running your mouth. SEC Dog, I won't see you after. This will be the last time I see SEC Dog. He'll show back up for the Florida game and talk about, we're going to beat Florida. Just hope you do that. My God, some of you guys are just ignorant. Can't have any kind of, it's just, we're the greatest ever. We're the absolute greatest ever. Clemson plays in the ACC. It's just like a circle jerk of stupidity. That's my opinion on Kirby Smart, and you guys are stuck with him. Wouldn't want him coaching my team until he wins something. With that much talent, I don't understand why you think he's great. I still don't get that. Do you like winning just the national recruiting title? Or would you rather actually win something? Not worried, though. I won't see SEC Dog or Caden after this show today. Get it all out now. 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832. Couple of other notes on the matchup with Clemson and Georgia. Will Georgia have the receivers to get into if they have to swap points with Clemson back and forth, will their receivers be able to hold up? We'll find out. I do think Georgia has the edge at running back, but there are a couple of other things to look at too from the perspective of, are there ghosts that will haunt Clemson? And what I mean by that is the last two prime matchups that Clemson has had, they've gotten their face kicked in. Now, granted, they've gotten their face kicked in by first-round quarterbacks that were throwing to elite talent at wide receiver. JT Daniels may blossom into being a first-round quarterback, but as of right now, I think that's kind of a reach until he gets some more. They get some more tape on him. He's played 4 games? 4 games at Georgia. I don't think Jermaine Burton and Kieris Jackson are in the same league as Olave from Ohio State and Jamar Chase from LSU. I don't think that JT Daniels is in the same league as Justin Fields and, of course, Joe Burrow. If I'm wrong on that, please call and tell me how he is better than those two and how those receivers are better than the two that I listed for you there. At 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. But the highest paid defensive coordinator in the country is Brent Venables up at Clemson. And this is kind of a get back game for him because his unit has kind of looked silly. Just a little bit. So will the Clemson defense come out and make a statement against this Georgia offense? Will the injuries for Georgia end up hindering them on the offensive side of the ball? We shall find out. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. The other thing with this matchup is the loser eliminated from the college football playoff picture? I kind of believe so. But other talking heads are like, no, not really, depending on how close the game could be. We shall see. 803-978-1832. We're going to start picking games when we come back. Of course, got a ton of games here, but we'll go through those when we come back here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. 803-978-1832. If you want to talk about the Tennessee situation at quarterback, are they going to stay with Joe Milton III? Take a call here. Welcome into the rundown. Good afternoon.
Rob, I was listening to your usual nonsense and kind of got lost in the stench there.
Okay.
How did Justin Fields? How did he enter the conversation?
I think that Justin Fields is a better quarterback than JT Daniels.
Yeah, and you're saying that why? Who told you? You're just trolling, or just just the normal stupidity that rolls off your tongue, or
you think that JT Daniels is better than Justin Fields?
Here's what I know.
Okay. Well, just tell me why. We can be polite about it. Just tell me why you think he's better than Justin Fields. That's all. He's only played 4 games.
That's correct. And Justin Fields played how many in college?
He played what 2 full seasons
Several.
At Ohio State? Yeah.
Several. And he's got 0 national titles to show for it. And we already know, according to you, national titles are all that matter.
But you also didn't hear the last part of what I said. I said we don't have enough tape on JT Daniels to make the realization that he's better than those two because we just haven't seen enough of him. You kind of missed that.
But you began by saying he's a better quarterback than JT Daniels, and then you kind of cushioned your statement by saying, well, there's not enough tape out there. So which one is it? Here's my point on Justin Fields.
Sure.
He won 0 national titles. Georgia takes all this heat for not winning anything, quote unquote, since 1980. Mm-hmm. Justin Fields comes in, he leaves because Kirby Smart's an idiot, yet he won just as many national titles as Jake Fromm did and just as many as JT Daniels has right now. So you guys who want to start all this, national titles are all that matters, right? So then Justin Fields was a complete failure by your standards. He won 0.
If you want to go under that, that's fine. I just think that as of right now,
my logic?
I definitely see your logic. But what I'm saying is that it's hard to put him into the camp of, hey, he's as good as Justin Fields. We just don't have enough tape. I don't understand what the problem is with that statement.
Well, let me get off that. Here's the bad news for you. Okay. I've got my own bookcase of accountability on my end over here.
Is it a trash can?
It is, and I had to go out and buy a bigger one yesterday for your statements.
Sure.
So come Monday, we're gonna reach in that nasty, filthy cesspool of just raw sewage,
right?
And we're gonna bring out statement after statement that you've made all through the off season.
Sure.
And you're gonna feel like a complete and total moron. Come Monday, right? Or Tuesday, whatever day you're on.
I hope that I'll be on the air Monday. I hope that you show up even after you drop that game. I really do.
I don't know what year you're talking about, but it won't be this year. So, okay. All right, Rob, I will catch you. I'll catch you Monday, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun, brother.
Sure, man. Looking forward to it. Have a good weekend. All right, one more call. Welcome into the rundown. Good afternoon.
Yeah, this is 00, and this dude keeps calling, man. I don't know why. If he doesn't like what you're saying, why is he listening to your show? If he's got a problem with you, and he's calling people idiots, it takes an idiot to call another an idiot. But anyway, if he has a problem with what I'm saying, I'll be glad to give him some information where we can chat face to face. Okay.
And go Tigers.
Well, it doesn't have to get to that, but I'm just saying, man, this guy's got a piss poor attitude every time he calls, man. And like I said, if he doesn't like your show, why is he listening? But anyway, that's all I got to say about that. And go Tigers. We'll win by at least 7. Take care. We'll talk to you later. I know you got to get to a break.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it. We do not condone fighting here on the show. All right. We don't condone fighting. We don't condone meeting up with each other and fighting over a football game. Although I appreciate 00's passion. Oh my goodness. Not what I expected today. But I welcome it. If I'm wrong, there is an audio record of everything that I said. It is on the podcast page. You can go and listen to everything that I said. So there you go. Simple as that. It's right there for you. And if I'm wrong, hey, I'll stand behind it. I said last year I thought Jeremy Pruitt was going to take Tennessee out of the doldrums, and I was wrong. absolutely wrong. Okay, I stand by the wrong stuff I say just as much as I stand off the by the right stuff that I say. In fact, the wrong stuff that I say, I remember more. The Jeremy Pruitt thing still bugs me to this day because I thought he was going to be worth a damn, but he's not. Terrible. Completely missed the boat on that one. All right, quick break. When we come back, we'll have more for you here on the Rundown. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400. Megan, you got people wanting to fight you, dude. Come on, man. I don't condone that. Don't be fighting people. Wow. This was my third refinance with Clemson. I've been very satisfied. The entire process is simple, never any surprises, and zero closing costs. Got people calling me during the show. What the heck is that all about? No, I'm doing a show on Labor Day. They asked me to do my show, so I'm going to do my show. I am in Brent. I am in Columbia. Look, begging Megan, someone enjoys your content. Imagine that. Peaceful football addicts. Okay. Get my notes together here. I've never seen people get so he was genuinely mad. Yeah, you be careful out there in Swansea. Yeah, if you're gonna fight, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want some idiot radio host made me. I had nothing to do with it. If you choose to fight, that is on you. My goodness. Jimmy says I'm an instigator. I don't understand. I mean, he was legitimately mad. I'll tell you where I'm at. If you ever give somebody your address, you've got issues. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Trying to be peaceful here on the Rundown this afternoon. Trying to be peaceful, ladies and gentlemen. We don't need people squaring off over a college football game. We all can get together and we can have a beer. You know what? I don't do politics on this show because politics are stupid. I don't think Democrats care about you. I don't think Republicans care about you. I don't think anyone that's elected to office cares about you or your family, period. But you know what? You can get your family together with another family and you guys can be from different sides of the world. You can be, I don't know. I do radio for a living. My wife is a teacher. We can go and watch a football game with people that are, I don't know, a road worker and a philosopher, whatever you want to put out there. We can all get together over a football game and get along. And that, my friends, is what is great about college football. I fully expect begging Megan to call up here on Monday when we do our show, because we will be live on the air, and give me grief about what happens if Clemson drops this game to Georgia, which I don't think that they will. But if they do, he's going to call up and give me grief about it. But you know what? That's just part of it. That's just part of it. We can all get together and be happy and talk college football. So there you go with that. All right, let's do some picks here. I've got to go to a break in about 3 minutes, but we'll get some of the picks out of the way. Big matchup tonight in the ACC. North Carolina playing at Virginia Tech. According to the opening line, has North Carolina as a 6.5-point favorite. It's down to 5.5. I always pick from the opening start line. That way I know, I don't know, it's just the way that I do things. But in that matchup tonight, here's a couple of things that are interesting in that game. Virginia Tech is 0-9 outright in season openers against AP top 10 opponents. Their most recent loss was 42-24 to Ohio State in 2015. So with that doesn't really matter. But you could also make an argument that North Carolina doesn't really do well in their openers. 1-7 outright in season openers away from home over the past 20 seasons. Their only win away from home in the past 20 seasons was against the Gamecocks in Charlotte. So maybe there's a trend there. I don't know. But have you noticed something else too, though? With Virginia Tech, we haven't really heard a whole lot about them. We've heard Justin Fuente may be coaching for his job. Here's what I know about Virginia Tech. I think they're going to be gritty tonight. I think that Blacksburg is going to be on fire with Inner Sandman and everything else. But the reality is this. North Carolina has too much talent to lose this game. But talent doesn't always win for you. So for that, I'm going to take Virginia Tech to win, not to win, but they'll cover. So I'll get the 6.5 points with Virginia Tech. I think North Carolina will pull it out late. So there you go. I got Virginia Tech. Old Dominion and Wake Forest tonight. Wake Forest is a 33-point favorite. Dave Clawson's one of the more underrated coaches in the country. He's just outstanding. I think that Wake will cover that. Duke and UNC Charlotte. I think UNC Charlotte's going to win this game outright. I really do. I don't know why. It's just a feeling that I've got. But I'll take Wake Forest and UNC Charlotte, and I'll take the 7.5 points. Also tonight, Michigan State and Northwestern. Hopefully this matchup is as good as last night's Big Ten setup. Northwestern, of course, is giving up 7.5 to open. It's actually down to 3. But I'll take – oh, man, that's going to be tough. But I think I'll take Northwestern and give up the points. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll pick some more games here in a moment. This is The Rundown. You're listening to Fox Sports Radio 1400. Welcome to the show, Jackpot. Jackpot says I'm crazy. We'll see. Yeah, you Tennessee fans were giving me grief about this Joe Milton. He finished with 184 total yards. I mean, are we supposed to be impressed by that? 44 yards on the ground, 140 through the air. 184 total yards. The Coastal Carolina game, I watched some of that, and they're the best team in the Sun Belt. They certainly are. Jackpot thinks they're winning by 21, the Duke game. Okay. I could be wrong. Not right all the time. Don't get upset. Let's see here. They're doggy doo-doo in. Hilarious. By the way, live stream tomorrow night. You know what, Megan? I'll take JT Daniels over Joe Milton. There you go. Now you can't say I never said anything good about him. I'll take him over Joe Milton. I'll take him over any of the quarterbacks on the Tennessee roster. Hayden Hooker should have gotten out there. Let him throw the ball around a little bit. My supplement didn't break up in my thing. Were you really worried you were going to lose there, Fireball? I wasn't worried about that. Poor Jackpot. You guys are welcome to come watch the show on tomorrow night. We're going to have the watch along. Thought you were going to lose it. Your defense actually played well. We're going to be live for the Clemson game. Yes, sir. I'm hoping that the Gamecocks will have that Eastern Illinois team put away. We shall see. We shall see. I hate to say that I agree with Jackpot, but on that one, I absolutely do. Jackpot says some stuff sometimes that makes me laugh really hard. They both fry up well. Welcome back to the rundown on Fox Sports Radio, 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. Final segment of the show. We got some picks coming your way here. So with that, tomorrow, Penn State plays at number 12, Wisconsin. Wisconsin is a 5.5-point favorite. I think the passing game is going to be too much. And I think that it's going to take a bit for Penn State to shake off the funk from last year, because it is a stench, because they were not very good. I understand it's a new season, but I think Wisconsin at home, I think this game's going to be tight, but Wisconsin will win it. And I think they'll cover the 5.5 points. Let's see here. The next matchup that we have is Alabama at with Miami. That's a neutral site game. I don't know how healthy De'Aaron King is. And I know that they're like, well, he's went through practice and he's done everything else. But the reality is that until you actually get out there on the field, you don't know how your leg's going to hold up. You really don't. The Alabama defense has the potential to be vicious. Now, they are returning. They have a lot of guys that aren't going to be there as far as on the offensive side of the ball. And if I told you, hey, you're going to lose, a first-round draft pick at quarterback, one of your and, of course, Najee Harris and the Heisman Trophy winner, you'll lose him too. And you'll lose Jalen Waddle, who should have won the Heisman Trophy if he wouldn't have gotten hurt. People would be like, oh, okay, well, they're going to take a step back. Yeah, I don't think so. I think Alabama is going to be really, really good this year. Lines up to 19.5. I think the Crimson Tide will cover. Indiana, ranked 17th in the country, plays at Iowa. Iowa is a 3-point favorite, so basically it's kind of a toss-up there. I'm rolling with the Hawkeyes simply because they're at home. I think that the home matchup works out well. Therefore, I think it's two very, very even teams. The Ragin' Cajuns from Louisiana Lafayette plays at number 21, Texas. Texas is an 8-point favorite in this matchup. The opening line on this thing was at 16 points. Texas is going to win this game. Now, people they'll tell you, oh, well, I think Louisiana could do it because they won last year. It's a completely different animal. And I think Steve Sarkisian is kind of, he wants to jump out good there with the new job. And the feeling that I have for Texas is I think that if they have the opportunity, they're going to put the screws to Louisiana, and I think they'll cover the 8 points. So give me Texas -8. State at number 15, Southern Cal. Southern Cal is a 14-point favorite in that matchup. The head coach for Southern Cal, it seems like he's always coaching for his life. You know what I'm saying? Always coaching for his life out there, but he continues to overcome. Is this the year they make their mark in the Pac-12? I think they cover against the Sparties there, and they win they'll win by 17 points. Florida Atlantic and Florida. The Gators are a 23.5 point favorite. The Gators will win, but I think they win by 17. I'm not really high on Florida this year. I think they'll win. Don't get upset. But yeah. Number 16, LSU plays at UCLA. The line on that game is down to 3 points. I'm taking LSU. I think that they're going to go in there, and I don't know about their running backs yet, but I think they'll have enough as far as on defense, and they'll do enough in the passing game that they'll get the win over UCLA. Notre Dame at Florida State. Notre Dame is a 7.5 point favorite in that matchup. I think everybody's going to be losing their mind down there at Florida State. Yeah, we remember Bobby Bowden and all of that. Yeah, but the difference is you don't have Bobby Bowden's players out there. And nothing against Mike Norvell, but Mike Norvell is not Bobby Bowden either. So you can have a remembrance of all these folks all the time, and that's great. But on Bobby Bowden night, Notre Dame is going to kick them in the teeth. So give me Notre Dame to win by more than 7.5. All right, South Carolina and Eastern Illinois. Eastern Illinois, I think, will end up being one of the worst teams in the country by the end of the season. I really do. And I think that South Carolina has an opportunity to roll tomorrow night. Line's like 40.5 now. It started out like 35.5. South Carolina could roll to, they could pretty much write whatever they want up there. I really believe that. And I think that the only thing you have to worry about is maybe late when you've got, I don't know, some guys from the student section doing their thing. And they're out there playing and maybe give up a late touchdown. Wouldn't surprise me if Eastern Illinois was held under 6 points on the night. I really believe that. So look for South Carolina to roll. By the way, we'll also have I'm doing the best Gamecock coverage on our sister station, News Radio 103.5 FM, WVOC. You can catch that. We've got full preview of the SEC and, of course, the Gamecock matchup and the post-game show. Instant reaction there for you South Carolina fans. All right, final matchup of the is, of course, the Clemson-Georgia game. And I told you earlier about the things that I like and don't like about either side. And I know that this sounds like cliche-ish, but the reality is that if Georgia runs the ball and they have the ability to push that Clemson defensive line around, which is a big if, then Georgia has the chance to win this game. But they're also going to need balanced play from JT Daniels. He's going to have to make some throws to keep that defense on its heels a little bit. I think Clemson, though, jumps out early, and I think that they may be leading like 17-7 at the half, something like that. Georgia will rally late, but Clemson will pull away in the fourth quarter. I've got Clemson winning 32-24. So Clemson will cover the 4-point spread there. As Gary Mills, my buddy, comes down the hall. All right, so don't forget the best Gamecock coverage on our sister station tomorrow. You can find that on the iHeartRadio app. We'll be streaming the postgame show live on the WVOC Facebook page. You can find it there and check out all the cool stuff that we do pre and post game over there. Everything you need to know about the Gamecocks, we will have for you. I'm on Twitter at Rob Sounds Good. I'll be tweeting out over the weekend, so be sure to check that out. And of course, don't forget we have my buddy Lawton Swan. He is the czar of Clemson Sports with Clemson Sports Talk.
Stop looking at me, Swan.
Be sure to check him out on Twitter. He's at Clemson Sports. He has all kinds of cool graphics and everything for his show. Great big website and all that. So anyway, be sure to check us out tomorrow with the fifth quarter post-game show. As soon as the Gamecocks wrap up, myself, former Gamecock Tim Frisbee, and Justin Hall. Well, it's not going to be much to talk about because South Carolina is going to just pop Eastern Illinois. But we'll be able to talk about all the other matchups of the day, and you can call in and get your thoughts out there. We finally made it, ladies and gentlemen. It seems like we've had talking season forever. It seems like yesterday I was just up at ACC kickoff, and now we're here. Now it's time to put up or shut up for just about everyone. the big cherry matchup with Clemson and Georgia. Who will come home with a win? Yeah, we'll have that for you. The aftermath of all of that on our next show, which is Monday. I will be on the air for Labor Day. So be sure to join me on Monday. As you're out there cooking out, I'll be in here, hopefully putting on a decent show. We'll see how that works. It's an honor to do a show for you folks. And of course, follow me on Twitter at Rob Sounds Good. Podcast is up at 5 o'clock. We'll see you on Monday on the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Yeah, Caden, we are streaming the Cal and I'll be on tomorrow night. Like, we can't actually show the game, but we'll be talking about the game. We'll have the chat room open and all of that. Nervous about what, Fireball? It's just a football game, my friend. Don't get nervous about football games. Just saying. But I appreciate you guys, man. We'll talk to you later on.